Good evening, good afternoon, boys and girls, and welcome to episode 62 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, coming to you today from YouTube. For those of you who just watched the episode we finished broadcasting a few minutes ago, thank you very much for sticking around. If you're watching the recording, thank you very much for watching the recording. But just in case you didn't watch the previous episode, this is to let you know that we're doing a longer one right now, one that may be more sort of like around a 45-minute mark, the way Love at First Scent used to be before I started doing single perfume episodes. But I thought, as it's the weekend, as we haven't done one of these long ones for a while, as there are quite a few releases that I thought it might be interesting to share with you, as we haven't done a vintage scent for a while, it was time to slow things down a little bit and maybe do one of the longer ones. So look at the array we've got here. We haven't seen this kind of thing in a Love at First Scent video for a while. So, I am not ignoring comments. I will get to them in a few minutes, but I think in the traditional way, I should say that I think we should start by smelling a perfume. And what I would like to smell is this, a new version of Alien, as you can see, from Mugler. As somebody mentioned on one of these videos here, as somebody commented a few weeks ago now, things are changing at Mugler because, of course, everything to do with the perfume side of things of Mugler has been run and owned by Clarence, but it is now going over to, I want to say, L'Oreal. I'm pretty sure it is L'Oreal, which will be interesting. This is probably going to be one of the final releases that we get from the Clarence stable. I suppose there must be others in the pipeline that L'Oreal will simply release before they do their own ones completely from scratch. But it will be interesting. It will be interesting because, of course, Clarence did, I think we can say, a very, very good job with Mugler. By the way, in case you're wondering, this new flanker, which is called Mirage, as you can see there is also an Alien Man Mirage. I am more intrigued by this one. We'll see if we get time to smell that one because I rate Alien very, very highly, whereas Alien Man I thought was a lot more pedestrian, a lot more ordinary. It was fine. So there is our familiar Alien bottle. I still think Alien is one of the best weird scents out there in the mainstream. It's a glorious, strange, musky, huge jasmine, which actually does feel like a spacecraft landing on you when you wear it. Just making sure everything here is okay on the tablet. Blotter update will be done a few hours after this broadcast, but I will say my hellos after we have smelt this. So let's see what we get from Alien Mirage. Does it actually say that on the bottle? Yes, it does. This is an eau de toilette, in case anybody is wondering. Let's see what the forehead says. Let's pop that there. Does that work? Yes, that works. Oh, here we go. Thank you for the alien emoji. Thank you very much. Ooh. Aquatic alien? Ozonic alien? That's I'm a little bit lost for words because I mean, you know, in my book, ozonic and aquatic are dodgy to say the least. They can. Okay, what's interesting at this stage is what we're not getting, and we are not getting that blast of alien that I'm sure is familiar to a lot of you. So we're not getting that strange, otherworldly, glass-like jasmine with tons and tons and tons of cashmeran in the base. If anything, it's the base that's more familiar than the top. There is a suggestion. There is a suggestion of it, but it's not. It feels like one of those flankers that's actually quite far removed from the original, at least at first sniff. But so maybe that's the idea of the Mirage, I suppose. You know, maybe it's meant to be this thing that you can kind of vaguely recognize, but you don't fully recognize in the distance. Maybe that was the idea. and maybe the Mirage, if it's meant to be in the desert, is then sort of like paradoxically meant to tie in with the ozonic aquatic accord. I don't know. Am I taking this too far? The color of the bottle, I suppose, doesn't reveal too much, but it's got that. It's a dream of being abducted from the ocean. So yeah, well, maybe. Yeah, I'm not like excessively enamored at this point. It's it just feels a little bit uninteresting, and there isn't a huge amount drawing me into it, which is really quite something. For Alien, which of course is such a fantastic scent. Let's look at comments. I will say hellos and things now. We're back, says Ashfaq. Hello again. Tushara, thank you very much for tuning in to all of you. Ashfaq says, I don't have any etro either. Fine. Tushara goes Gucci, yeah. 2 Gucci's there. I don't know if we have time to get to those, but let's see. So somebody, Ashfaq says, from side, the box looks like vintage Durissimo. What do you mean this one? Maybe that sort of looks like a kind of houndstooth print. Tashara says, I bet no jasmine. Well, no, not a vast amount. Is that Chloe Nomade? Says Tashara. Yes, a new version of Nomade. We may get round to smelling that one, because I think Nomade is a scent that I have rather unfairly overlooked on these videos. Where shall I pop this so that you can see the Nomade? A confused forehead, annoyed forehead, says the Shvak. Yeah, maybe. Sounds like it's living up to its name of Mirage. Hi again, says DB70. Hello. Let's look at the press release for that one, actually, because I do have something here. Now, where have I put it? All the various places where we... Okay, so the phenomenon of mirages, it says. Fine. Alien is the fragrance of light, a tribute to the creative power in every woman. Really? Is that what the Alien thing is? For 2020, Mugler once again entices us with the extraordinary, a new limited edition rendition of its legendary fragrance that is equal parts refreshing and breathtaking, introducing Alien Mirage. The alien goddess beckons us to her side in a mystical desert awash with light. Amid a vast sea of sand, as the rumbling storm clouds darken the golden sky and a chill sets in. Did somebody say Mirage à trois? The blinding sun streaks between heaven and earth as it surrenders. Nature's mysterious power is poised to arouse our senses, pushing us toward new vistas. Yes, the storm passes and a surge of freshness from a mirage captivates us like water streaming over the sand or a stunning flower that blooms as a beacon of hope. Yes, somewhere between illusion and reality, mirages appear as rays of light intermingling with temperature. A phenomenon as natural as it is astounding, they were seen as divine apparitions in the Middle Ages. At Mugler, mirages become aliens' muse, inviting us to take another step toward the phenomenal. Alien Mirage is the olfactory rendition of a refined minerality that unveils an aquatic fragrance, an aquatic fragrance trail intended to lure us even deeper. Yes, except aquatic fragrances very rarely manage to entice us to get us even deeper, except if, by that we mean that they drown us. So the taglines are aquatic freshness and amber seduction. For 2020, the iconic signature of Alien has been refined to crystal clarity, where mineral, floral, and sensual elements combine. So there's a mineral revelation, captivating and spicy notes of pink peppercorns burst into an overdosed mineral accord. Yeah, overdosed is right. A mirage revelation, the ensemble of syringa flower, and lotus flower incite a floral note that is light and fresh, echoing the life-giving and luminous force of nature returning after a summer rain. We haven't had a press release like this for a while, have we, regular viewers? And what is that? A flowerish revelation. Okay, I have no idea what this. Oh, sorry, I'm being blind now. A flourish revelation. So there's a mineral revelation, a mirage revelation, and a flourish revelation. The woody base note is beautifully rounded out by hinoki wood blended with the smooth warmth of white amber. Oh yes, that good old white amber. This heady and potently full bloom takes us back to the unmistakable trail of the original Alien Eau de Parfum. Well, we will have to wait for the flourish revelation. As if a breath of fresh air were chiseled into a rock, the Alien Mirage Talisman bottle is lightly tinted in a blue-grey gradient with reflective facets that seem to sparkle, etc., etc. They're calling it a floral aquatic amber eau toilette created by Fanny Bal and Dominique Ropion, available in the UK from the 1st of February. So not long to go before you can all sample the delights. But you know what? The way these things usually go is that probably the Alien Man flanker is going to be interesting. Although if it's an aquatic one, mustn't prejudge. There will be a blotter update. Yeah. Okay, so now, as per the usual way for these long episodes, I can say a massive hello to all of you. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you're watching live, thank you very much for watching. If you're not watching live, if you're watching the recording, thank you very much indeed. Please feel free to leave a comment, ask a question. I try to get round to all of them as quickly as possible. Please consider subscribing to my channel. Please give me hearts and thumbs up, etc. Hearts, that's Facebook, isn't it? But I try to link to these videos on Facebook as well. And also chip in with any sorts of comments. There will be a vintage sent today. I have missed lots and lots of comments here. Right, so Ashfaq says, is that a CK? Yes, this is CK Everyone, which I wouldn't mind doing actually, because I've worn it a couple of times already. Mirage Artois we already had. Brief for the PR writer, says Ashfaq. Let's pile in as many adjectives as possible. Yeah, that's how it goes though, isn't it? David A says, isn't the truth of the Mirage that it's all promise and no payoff? Yeah. I see what you did there. I see what they did there. Peggy wants to be killed right now. How about we just kill the press release? Time to be abducted by Mugler, says Val Zazel. Angeline says, this awestruck tone is so OTT. Absolutely. Is it Gino says the press releases are entertaining for sure. Written by Alien, says Tashara. Very, very possibly. No sandalwood, says Ashfaq, so not buying. DB70, on the subject of Mugler, what do you think of Pure Havana and Pure Malt? Oh gosh, I haven't smelt those for a while. I mean, I know that Pure Havana was just the holy grail for some people. The one that I seem to remember actually liking was Ultra Zest from the Amen flankers. But they tend to be good actually. They tend to work quite well. Please try the Nomade. I think we ought to do the Nomade. I think we actually should do the Nomade next. I don't have a press release, so the entertainment value is going to be minimal. I just have a little bit of a blurb. But I would like to do the Nomade because it's a scent that's been around in a couple of forms now. At least 2 forms? Is it? Yeah, 2 forms. This is the 3rd, I think. For a few years. Really, really good modern chic, not just for the mainstream, but particularly for the mainstream, made by Quentin Bisch, or Quentin Bisch of Givaudan. It did get acclaim when it first emerged, but it still kind of seems to be under the radar for a lot of people. So this one, let me show you, and I suppose I can show you on the bottle. Let's give it its, let's take this off so that we can show it off in its, okay. This is what they're calling the Absolu de Parfum, and so I'm pretty sure that the first 2 bottles don't have these kind of studded leather thing going on around on the cap, and they have been solidly. No, but that sounds like damning with faint praise. Actually, they are good scents, and I like the fact that they mix a modern sheep record with a really, really nice citrus top note, a sort of mandarin-y top note, and they managed to be the 2 Nomads so far anyway managed to be sophisticated without being too serious. They have a very, very convincing modern feel to them. They managed to be fairly translucent without being insubstantial. So they just work, and clearly they worked for Chloe as well, because I guess otherwise we wouldn't have had a third version. So this is Chloe's Absolu de Parfum. I'm pretty sure this is by Quentin Bisch as well. So let us have a sniff. And of course, you know what's going to happen. Like, this is the third one, the one that we're doing live here, and it's probably turns out to be the one that I don't like. Ooh, quite different from the other two, though, at least at the start. This starts. In fact, just at this first sniff, I wouldn't necessarily have told you that it was a Nomade flanker, because this seems to have a kind of different fruit thing happening at the top. But it's... What is that? But also, it's almost like a kind of incense feel to it, or something pine-like as well. You know how frankincense can maybe almost have like a sort of camphoraceous facet, and so does pine. It's... I'm thinking now of Serge Lutin's, Fille en Aiguille. Pardon my French. That is a very, very hard perfume name to say if you don't speak French. Curious. Elemi Wood says Ashfaq. Maybe, yeah, maybe. So quite a tangent actually here. But certainly, and maybe kind of, maybe the ubiquitous pink pepper thing as well. But intriguing. So they haven't gone for the obvious thing of just taking the original and just making it deeper. Comments. I'm looking forward to the day when you'll present Creed as a classic, says Ashfaq. Yeah, you carry on looking forward to that, Ashfaq. You don't hold your breath. Angeline says, will you do one of the Gucci's? We'll see how we get on. We'll see how we get on. I want to just take a look at the little blurb that I have got. Now, where did I save that one? There isn't a huge amount that I've got on the Chloe. Nomade Absolu is meant to be a modern fragrance of independence, elegance, and adventure. The more intense version of the original exudes sophistication and a bright, attractive, fruity chypre character. And the top note is meant to be plum. Mirabelle plum. Maybe, okay, that's slightly... which immediately places it in a more sophisticated mode. And yes, actually, maybe there are echoes of, sort of heading in the direction of opium almost. The heart is meant to be Davana wood and oak moss, and then surprise, surprise, sandalwood and musk in the base. Yes, all right. And apparently Quentin Bisch is the perfumer for this one as well. It'll be very, very, very interesting to see how this develops on the blotter, actually, because it is not what I had expected. Not what I had expected at all. Oh, hang on, I've just lost everything there. Let's go back to the feed and see. I loved the Nomad EDP version, says Tashara. Yeah, I liked both of them, but I think they were more obviously related to each other than this one is. This one really does feel like a departure. And definitely woodier, actually. Definitely woodier. Almost in that, wood polish type feel. Persolaise is intrigued. So I think maybe, on this note, we ought to look at our vintage scent. We haven't done a vintage for a while, and I'm pretty sure that I've never ever done a vintage from this brand. Not that there are very many older fragrances from this brand, but I'll just show you what it is, and then you can start commenting, because it is this. It's the, in this case, it happens to be the Eau de Parfum version of Boucheron's Jaipur Homme. There is an EDT as well. Chopard says, Peggy, no, it's Boucheron. Already a comment, Ashfaq saying lovely one. And I think you're absolutely right. I have had this in my collection for a while. I mean, obviously not this bottle because I've had a few bottles, but I tend to forget about it. And then if I ever sort of see it in the back of the cupboard, where the perfumes that I wear are kept, and if I do happen to smell it, I always just think to myself, why on earth do I not wear this more often? And I did actually wear it the other day, and it still works beautifully. So I saw somebody say, is it an Annick Menardo? Yes, it is. Certainly the original EDT is. I haven't been able to find out if the EDP is as well, but I think they came out round about the same time as each other. The original is from 97, 98, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is Annick Menardo too. And it's, I mean, okay, when you smell it like this on paper, it's a kind of smelt it twice a few years ago. Never bought it, says Ashfaq. What? But what did you? Oh, yeah, but you just said you thought it was lovely, right? It is a sort of oriental, ambery, spicy fougere, and there is something about it, maybe in the roughness of the fougere note that places it in the 90s. It does feel a little bit dated now, I think. But what I remember loving about it, and the very first time I smelt it, I think, was at the Galerie Lafayette in Nice. And it was just this immediate, wow, I have got to have a bottle of this type moments. I loved the gentleness of it. I loved the powdery notes of it. I loved the dry down, because it almost felt as though somebody had taken Guerlain's Habit Rouge and sent it in a more kind of herbal, lavendery fougere direction, made it a bit more hairy-chested than Habit Rouge, but retained that delicacy and retained the elegance. And yeah, I mean, already now, after just a couple of minutes on the blotter, that slight coarseness is fading away. Actually, it's interesting. On the blotter, what you do get more of is the sort of lavenderiness of the fougere. I haven't smelled it on paper for a long time because I recently just wore it on myself. But the sweetness is well judged. The woodiness is well judged. Just before we started broadcasting, I went on the Boucheron Perfume site to make sure that it is still around, and it does still seem to be part of their range, both the EDT and the EDP, but I'm not sure that Jaipur for women is around. I'm not ignoring comments, by the way. I will get to them because I can see quite a few of you are commenting on this one, which is great. And to think that this is now, what, 22 years old? It's quite nice that it's still around and still manages to impress. I suppose if we're being very, very, stereotypical about these things, it's what some people may say is a sort of older man's scent. I hate that kind of terminology, but I don't mind going along with saying maybe that it conveys a more mature masculinity. Notions of masculinity will definitely be on the agenda in a few weeks, though, when we look at the new version of Dior Homme, but let's save that one for the moment. And the spiciness, the sort of nutmeg, cinnamon, clove notes, it is just so well balanced, and I think probably one of Annick Menardo's more underrated efforts. Comments. This is an Annick Menardo scent, says Dream of Me No More. Yes, yeah, we've talked about that. Ashfaq says that the Oriental thing is what I remember it for. If I remember correctly, it has a good sandalwood note in it. Possibly, yeah, but not sort of particularly prominent or in your face. Is it cinnamony? Does it have rose? Dream of Me No More. Cinnamony, definitely. Some kind of floral thing happening there as well, but not an especially overt rose. And Evolutionist says, I'm going to wear Sabi by Henry Dunay today. Wondering if you've tried it. No, sorry. If so, can you please do a review one day? Sad it's discontinued. A beautiful scent. Interesting. No, not aware of that one at all. It's I really like when scents that are aimed at men actually cause you to slow down, to take a breath. I mean, I have a lot of time for energetic scents as well, which is interesting in relation to the Calvin Klein, to CK Everyone. but the ones that induce that kind of more harmonious state of mind are, I find, more interesting. And you know what it's really making me think of at the moment? It's making me think of, it sounds like someone who likes Egoist would like this Dream of Mina, potentially, but it's suddenly making me think, it's funny you mentioned Chanel, because it's making me think of Chanel's Boy. I think Lafayette in Nice any good, says Umberto, for fragrances. Well, we're going back many, many years to when I smelled this one, but the last time I was at the Galerie Lafayette in Nice was in the summer, and they recently went through a whole refurb, and they have quite a few independent scents there, but Galerie Lafayette tend to be pretty good for perfumes anyway. Schwark says most definitely, but I can't remember what we're saying most definitely to. But yeah, it's like Chanel's Boy is a sort of more modernized version of this, because it's been made quieter and lighter and less rough, less hairy chested, it hasn't got a beard. Yeah, interesting. It would be, and this is more diffusive, because you would have still expected scents in the sort of mid 90s, late 90s to be as diffusive as this one. It's got presence, it's very, very large, it kind of ties in with the feel of the bottle. Whereas Boy, of course, tones everything down. Maybe that's why I was drawn to it, because I was recently smelling Boy when I was thinking of doing, my list of the best perfumes of the decade. But interesting. Making these comparisons. And let's do at least one more. Another one that I would like to share with you, for which I've just sort of got a little carded sample like this, is the new one from the UK brand. Can you see the name there? I'm sure a lot of you will be familiar with this brand anyway. This is Papillon Perfumes, which is based in the New Forest. The perfumer there, the founder of the brand, is Liz Moores. She is a self-taught perfumer, very, very talented self-taught perfumer. She's justifiably made a big splash in the independent perfume world. The perfumes of hers that are particularly well loved are Anubis, Tobacco Rose. I myself was very fond of Angelique and of Dryad. This is called Bengal Rouge. I have already smelt it. I've worn it a couple of times. And so I thought it would be worth sharing it with you. I really, really like it. I don't think I necessarily love it, in the sense that I'm not sure that it's the best thing that Liz Moores has done, but it is really, really, really lovely, especially in the opening, because she packs her scents full of very, very rich and opulent and dense materials. You go into a department store and you smell something from the mainstream, and you think, wow, does this actually have anything in it that has ever seen the interior of a plant, or is in any way, shape or form natural? Whereas Liz tends to go the other way and will pack her stuff full of naturals, almost to the extent that you then feel that there is sort of reaction to the mainstream. And I prefer it when she sort of pares things down rather than tries to pack them in. But if you are after, I mean, the list of notes here, it actually tells you pretty much mostly what you need to know, even though I will read you the website blurb. Tells you mostly what you need to know here. It's tonka bean, sweet myrrh, rose, sandalwood and orris, and that is what you get. And it does smell as rich as that. It does smell as voluptuous as that. But if I'm sounding hesitant, I think maybe what it lacks is a distinct signature or a distinctive personality. Whereas, for example, Angelique and Dryad and Tobacco Rose and Anubis do have that. So this is lovely. It is nothing less than lovely, but maybe it doesn't leap up into greatness. Let's share with you what the website blurb is, because this I haven't read, so it'll be interesting to actually compare it with what we're smelling here. So the website says, sandalwood, Turkish rose, honey, vanilla, and sweet myrrh. A golden fur swathed in sandalwood and doused in honey. Sweet myrrh purrs behind a warm, rosy skin, misted with oak moss and dappled in the rich shades of a leopard pelt. A cozy caramel comfort glows from a gourmand heart, while sweet tonka slinks an opulent softness upon your skin. Okay, and then there's a bit that says our perfumer's inspiration. The muse for this perfume is my Bengal cat, Mimi. I've always been captivated by the beauty of her fur and her natural perfume. I didn't want to create a literal fragrance, rather a reimagining of the notes that lay upon her leopard coat. It was important that this perfume brought the comfort and warmth that so many of us receive from our pets, as well as do justice to Mimi's natural elegance and grace. I moved away from dramatic feral notes, that's true, and focused upon a domesticated coziness that would embrace the wearer with the same snugness and pleasure that I feel when I am with her. And that, yeah, I totally go along with that. I wanted to include some of the oriental facets of the Bengal cat's origins, unique, elegant, and striking. I hoped to capture the majesty and mystery of these beautiful creatures in a sumptuous and soft perfume. Okay, and if it's supposed to be feline and have a purr and a sort of glow, then I would totally say that Liz Moores has met the brief that she set for herself. And I think actually that it's more intriguing to me on paper than it was than it was on skin. So maybe wearing it on fabric, I mean, is the way to go. Right. So lots and lots of comments. Ashfaq says in relation to this, you got it, it's so frustrating, I can't get alcohol-based perfumes from the UK. I know, because the postage restrictions on sending any kind of perfume thing out of the UK are just insane. And if anybody wants to post anything that is a perfume out of the UK, they have to get special licenses, and it costs lots of money, and they have to use special couriers. I mean, it's really annoying. And I'm guessing it's because of safety reasons that they've done it. Ashfaq says, love her work. Yeah, absolutely. Dense is a good way to describe it, says Forever Fragrant Kid. But, of course, now I don't know whether you're talking about the Jaipur or this one. The Candy Perfume blog says, I'm a man and used for a while Jaipur Homme. It smelled very voluptuous and libidinous on me. Fair enough. Frag Chitown says, which of this line are the most pared down? Well, I think Angelique definitely is the most sheer pared down one. Ashfaq says, I want to wear it on one hand and Salome on the other. Angelique, Tobacco, Rosa are my faves, says Forever Fragrant Kid. Still need to try Nubis. Yes, you do. Ashfaq says, she added a lot of Mysore sandalwood in it. Ah, okay. I believe that, actually. It does smell very, very convincing. Totally convincing. Smells very, very real. Dream of Me No More says, oh God, I don't want perfume inspired by someone's cat. Didn't Gwyneth Paltrow do something like that recently? Please let us not talk about anything that Gwyneth Paltrow may have done recently. Please, let's just not go there. So that's why we got the lols, okay. Yeah. Okay, and Forever Fragrant Kit has explained. So yes, definitely worth checking out. And before we go, I won't spray it, but just to mention CK Everyone. I was a huge fan of CK1 when it came out, in the 90s. I wore it to death. I mean, it absolutely was a sort of signature for me. There have been so many flankers of CK1. Incidentally, the CK1 product that I wish they would bring back is the massage oil, because it was just superb. But anyway, lots and lots of flankers. Then, not so long ago, I think they did CK All, which was meant to be, that was intriguing, because it was, they went back to the original perfumer, they went to Alberto Morillas, and they asked him to sort of try to make CK1 as though he were making it today with the ingredients that he has at his disposal today. The result was, I quite liked it for what it was. I mean, I still think CK1 was more interesting, more distinctive, but CK All worked. It was very, very toned down. And now CK Everyone is supposed to be another kind of revisitation, again by Alberto Morillas, I've worn it a few times. All I would say is, as far as sort of mainstream releases are concerned, it's worth checking out. It's not CK1, but it's the advertising for it that's intriguing because by saying CK Everyone, what they're actually now going along with is this idea that it's meant to be for all of the facets of ourselves, including all of the gender facets of ourselves. And of course, they're trying to play into the gender fluidity awareness that exists now, certainly in the Western world, and the other thing as well is that it's meant to be, what is it? Containing ingredients from natural origin. Well, that could mean anything. It means it can contain 2 ingredients from natural origin and formulated with a naturally derived alcohol. Well, you could almost say duh. Packaging contains recyclable materials, and also saying that it's vegan. So they are really, really trying to tick a lot of boxes with this one. Trying very hard. I think you could definitely say that it's a try-hard perfume, whereas of course the original CK1 was not. But for is it vegan, says Ashfaq? Yes, it is vegan. But for an inexpensive, mainstreamy product from a brand that has now gone super mainstreamy, it's kind of interesting because it gluten-free. No, I'm sure it's got some gluten, because it mixes sort of mineral notes with musks in a pleasing way. And I wore it a couple of times. I've got no intention of wearing it again because there are more interesting things out there to wear. But give it a sniff. The next time if you happen to see it somewhere in a place like a Sephora or something, give it a sniff and then let me know what you think. Okay, so blotter update coming in a few hours. Please stay tuned to social media to see when the next episode of Love at First Scent will be. I can tell you for a fact that there isn't going to be one for at least a week, possibly a week today, possibly Sunday, but certainly not before that. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. If you're not watching live, if you're watching the recording, then by all means ask a question, leave a comment, because I usually get round to them. But for today, thank you very much for tuning in. Take care. Bye.